Instead of therapy happening inside on a couch in a room without windows, imagine getting to walk outside with your therapist to enjoy spring and the flowers. My name's Joshua and I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia in Ansley Park, and I'm going to show you all the beautiful flowers, mushrooms, and animals that live right here in the park. And one of the most healing things for me for my mental health and physical well-being is getting outside into nature. I love taking my clients and taking my friends out here and explaining the interconnected web of life and experiencing that firsthand. So follow me, we're going to go for a walk and explore many of the wildflowers that you can eat, that you can connect with, and that you can find healing and learn from on a day-to-day basis. So being in nature doesn't mean that all your problems are going to go away. We've got the sound of leaf blowers here to comfort us, I suppose, but here we're standing by a white bud tree, and come check this out. This is one of my favorite plants to see in the spring. You can see those petals. This is in the pea family, the Fabaceae. So this is a bean, and I'm gonna eat it right now because pea flowers are delicious. You can eat these in salads. You can put them in your oatmeal. You can put them in banana and ice cream that I love to add to it. And I'm gonna taste these and let you know how they taste. It has a nice sweet flavor. There's a lot of nectar in here. And the natives would eat these flowers, and that's why they call them red bud, because it's the first flowers that come out that are edible. And you'll notice that they're actually growing here on the bark. This is what's called cauliflory, and this is a key identifying feature of red buds or the white variety here. So another amazing thing about these plants, in addition to them tasting amazing, is that they'll create pods that are green. You can cook these pods up, they have a lemony flavor. And at a time of struggle and distress, to come outside, to connect with a really old tree, to taste a really amazing flavor that you can't get in stores is something that has given me a lot of joy, a lot of relaxation and connection, especially as you get to sit next to plants that aren't edible. This is an oak leaf hydrangea, Hydrangea quercifolia. Just beautiful. I love seeing the hands opening up. And as we, are in a therapy experience and we start to see, new hope. This is something that comes to my mind, is seeing these flowers emerge, these buds, these leaves emerge, is something that gives me a lot of hope. So I hope you enjoy this little lesson on red buds. Now let's go on to the next tree. So here we see a mix of wildflowers that are edible, medicinal. I'm gonna go to some of my favorite here, the violets. We have many different species. This is Viola sororia. And you'll notice that these are both purple and we do have white as well, but this is actually an edible flower used in teas. It's got a spicy flavor raw. And these greens here, when they unfurl, you can also use them to chew and put on bug bites. They'll stop the itching. They can also, what's called mucilaginous, they have a slimy consistency. They're really good for coating the throat, coating the digestive tract here. And then as we move over here, we have Veronica. This is a speedwell. You can actually make tea from these beautiful flowers. And we have a geranium here, which you can also eat these flowers. Beautiful. And how does that feel? Just looking at flowers, we have Creeping Charlie here, another mint. Just being able to see the flowers here, to watch the bees pollinate, and to be able to play a role in supporting the wildlife here in the city, as we see continuing to sprout and bloom here in the spring. We've got a whole lot of beautiful plants here, medicinal, edible, delicious. And so we've got these violets, of course, viola, but we do have this, it's a non-native onion, which means that it's also kind of contributing to crowding out maybe some of the native onions, but it's also one that we can feel free to harvest. And you can smell, it just smells very strongly like chive. And now what I love about onions is that they've given people onions, taken their blood and dropped it on petri dishes with cancer. And it was able to kill 8 out of 8 cancers that they tested in a petri dish. And the mustards, as we talk about getting onions, getting healthy foods to people all over, this is something that grows all over Atlanta in all of the parks. So we want to make sure that the land is not treated. One way I know it's not treated is that we have a variety of broadleaf plants. We have the lyre-leaf sage here. We've got some chickweed, which I've taught about how to identify this. It's got 5 petals, it's white flowered, it's in the pink family, Caryophyllaceae, and this one is very tasty to cook up to eat in a salad. We also have what's called cleavers, sticky willy, or Gallium apirini, and it's got the world leaves, very sticky, so it'll just stick to your shirt right there. And I make a tea out of this, so I'll steep it in hot water. It makes a viscous kind of mouthfeel, so it feels like you're actually drinking something substantial, has a really nice flavor to it. I describe it as green. And one of my friends, Deborah, will make this into a pesto. And so traditionally, this is called bed straw. It was used to keep your matting and bedding in place, and it is prolific as well. They do have seeds some people will roast. It's in the coffee family, so some people mention that there's caffeine, but according to many friends that I trust and research, there's not actually caffeine in this particular plant. So we've got onions to flavor our food. We also have something that's really fun, especially for kids. This is another non-native called henbit. This is lamium. It's in the mint family. And all mints have square stems, opposite leaf arrangement. And these flowers are what's called bilabial. They have two lips here. And sometimes you can blow on a flower and summon some fairies. So for the kids out there, let's see if this works. Well, I don't know if I summoned a fairy here. Let's see, Bella. Can you try to? Let's see if Bella can do it. So what you do is, let's see, Bella. So you're gonna take a flower, and you're gonna try to blow into the flower, and see if you can get a sound to come out. We gotta get some fairies. Give me 1, 2, so try. No.
I don't think I got any fairies this time.
It's possible, guys. It's super possible, but we did not summon the fairies today, unfortunately. So let's keep going. Let's keep checking out some of the beautiful plants here. So right here, we've got what I call too much of a good thing. Happens in our thoughts, can also happen in the wild. And we have dandelions, which are a very common plant, but many people do not know they're not native to the United States. At least they tend to be native to Eurasia. And so because of that, they're actually crowding out a lot of native plants that may use this sunny slope. Now, they do have medicinal properties. They are edible. You can make tea with the roots. You can eat the leaves. You can eat the flowers. But just like sometimes things that are good for us can be overdone, they can overwhelm us. You can see here that this is overwhelming a lot of the native plants that also depend on this habitat. Sort of like this one here, this, let's see, what do we call this guy? We call it fleabane or erigeron. And this one is a very, very nice native plant. It's not edible actually, but it helps support the pollinators. It has beautiful white flowers. Very common plant that is now pushed out to the edges because of this vetch and because we've got all these dandelions. So that's a little bit of understanding that, you know, typically this is what the sides of slopes would be. We would have these violets, but now we also have hairy bittercress, which is cardamine hirsuta, and this one is taking over this area as well. And we've also... So the reason that we're interested in invasive plants and native plants is that we want to understand the ecology. We want to understand that plants that are out of harmony, just like we may have, our microbiome may be out of harmony, our thoughts may be out of harmony, our relationships may be out of harmony. And so we want to understand what are the relationships that have evolved for centuries in the case of plants, and you know, what are the plants and animals and connections that we need that are really going to support us in the long term. So this is Bella's first time with our native redbud, the Quercus canadensis. Let's see how it tastes. All right, Bella. So yeah, we're gonna try one where the flowers are open because that means that the nectar is gonna be really good there. Let's see, how does it taste? Can you see the little nectar there? Like, taste the little sweetness?
A little sweet. Definitely has a little bit of a floral tone, obviously. That one was really sweet.
Yeah, when they're fully open versus like closed up. So you want them more like that. And if they're closed up like this here, not a great time to eat them yet. What would you put this on? What would you want to eat this with?
I think it could go good on some avocado toast. I think that would be kind of like in a microgreens aspect, but do it with the floral and like hint of sweetness.
Yeah, salads. I've seen them
Salads,
in
yeah.
Atlanta on sushi as well, but this is one of my favorite trees, and you can see down all the way down here. Don't know if we could zoom in, but they just look stunning from far away. So if you need a native tree that's edible in multiple seasons, highly recommend Quercus canadensis or our native redbud. And it's Quercus because the little pods here look like a weaving device. And also they have peas in them. They've got beans that are edible. Now, I know a lot of people in Atlanta are probably thinking, I've seen this tree here all the time. I had no idea I could eat it. And that is what we are often living in on a daily basis. We don't know that there are mustards all around us. Everywhere we go, you see these bean-like pods coming out of the sides. These are the seeds of a mustard, highly invasive, so I don't want to spread it too much, but we have research to show that mustard and the seeds, the broccoli seeds, the broccoli sprouts, that these are helpful for things like autism. Children who are dealing with fits of rage are actually able to decrease their instances of having fits of rage by using broccoli sprouts. Peer-reviewed literature on that. And so it's just amazing to me that the mustards, the onions, these cancer-killing properties, these plants that are able to support us with our well-being grow for everybody. They're abundant, they're easy to find, even here in the middle of the city where they're not planted. Oh, hey. So right here, we're actually tending to a lot of these native plants. We're in a situation where there are really rare and uncommon plants here growing in Atlanta. We have spring beauties here, which is Claytonia. And if you zoom in really close, you can actually see the pink pollen right here. Can you see that? So this is a beautiful plant. They also call it fairy spuds because underneath here, there's actually a big tuber, kind of like a potato. And now this one, because there's only one here, we're not harvesting this for food, but this is something that we want to continue to tend to. And now you can see right here, there's a very uncommon mustard. This is called a cut leaf mustard here, Cardamine connectada. And we also have our native Cardamine angustada. This is another native mustard. And so mustards, again, they've shown from the research that if you are to give somebody mustard, take their blood and put it on a petri dish, that mustards also kill 8 out of 8 cancers that they tested, including breast cancer, brain cancer, and blood cancer. So this is really awesome to see that we have a lot of these native plants. And then we have some plants that are coming in that are unfortunately more invasive. So we've already removed a lot of the English ivy. If you want to look behind you there, we have a ton of this that is just coming over. And so, you know, in mental health, we think about invasive thoughts. We think about thoughts that continue to overwhelm the joy, the beauty, the gratitude. So maybe we'll take a moment and just express some gratitude for, you can look down and see the beautiful trilliums, these 3-leaf plants that could take 7 years to 9 years to put up a flower, that continue to come back every year. These wild mustards that have beautiful flowers. We can start to see the interconnected web of life. And when you're actually tending in person, this is a plant that comes from the coast. It's called Carolina cherry laurel, but it takes over. And as we remove a little bit of these plants that are not typically here, that shade the ground out, we allow the native plants to thrive. And it feels good as somebody who grew up in Atlanta, in this society where you're constantly behind a desk, you're writing, you're intellectualizing, but we're not actually using our hands to care for the earth around us. And so by removing things like this non-native holly here that will be very hard to remove, by allowing the natives to come out, we get to see the wildflowers, to see the fruits of our labor, and to actually feel like we're putting and connecting with the world around us. And I want to see if these guys have popped their flowers up yet. Let's see. It's just a really amazing time to walk around the forest here to see the little wildflowers. I don't see any little flowers on this guy here. But this is what I love to do, you know, with my friends, with clients, is to take people outside so that we can really feel refreshed by the world around us, so we can learn about the plants that need our help. And let's come over here and check out another very uncommon trillium. This one is called Underwood's trillium. And unfortunately, it's getting taken over. So let's see if we can find it. And so this is a trillium that has never been found in Fulton County. I believe I know the person who planted it. We have this beautiful stand here of trillium. And let's compare this with over here. I believe this is the Underwood's trillium. And so these trillium are massive, as big as my hand. They have a very nice vanilla smell to them. Really just such a beautiful plant, very delicate and sensitive. And it has plants here that need our help. So this is the English ivy that was planted in people's gardens. And while each plant has a different meaning, a different connection, there are times where certain plants, certain people, certain thoughts that we need to remove them from our lives so we can give space, give sunlight to those that need our help, that are struggling. And so just love coming out, getting outside, connecting and understanding the interconnected web of life, to see that when we make space for the sun to come to the ground, that we remove the clutter, a lot of times what we're looking for shows up just when we need it most. So Bella is walking down to one of the biggest grandmother trees here. This is a tulip poplar, a few hundred years old. And we're going to ask Bella to do a little bit of a practice to make contact with this tree. You know, a lot of us are really missing physical contact. Look how big that is. So Bella, you're going to breathe deeply with this tree, 3 deep breaths. Let's all do that together. Let's breathe in, hold, and release. Breathe in deeply, hold, and release. One last deep breath. Let it out with a sigh. All right, Bella, how are you feeling after communing with this tree?
Good. It's nice. It's calming. It allows you to not think about the noise of the city. All I heard was the birds and the rustling of the leaves, and it gave me a second to reground and recenter, and it felt good. And like in my stomach especially, I think it was an overwhelming and like calming sense.
Awesome, thanks Bella. Beautiful big trees here. Get to see how other animals handle conflict. We got 2 male cardinals kind of fighting over territory, and just seeing how the birds fly, you know, the bees pollinate. It's a really beautiful day here. And we've got another plant I'm excited to share about. This is called chameleon plant. It's also called Hyatutta cordata, cordate meaning heart-shaped leaves. So this plant here, Hyatutta cordata, or the chameleon plant, also called fish mint, is used culturally in China. The roots are actually used just in stir fries, and they have a very unique flavor. My girlfriend says that it tastes kind of like cilantro, but this is a plant that I like to find a young leaf to chew on. It gives me a whole essence, a whole flavor in my mouth that alters how I feel on a day-to-day basis. And I took a friend here from Sichuan, China, who told me that the flavor, the smells reminded him of home. And so that's what I love about smells, about flavors, is that you're able to be teleported to another time, another place, to a different memory, maybe something that you loved as a child or something that smelled weird. It brings back up a lot of different experiences. And so this plant here is actually becoming a little bit of an issue here. It continues to overtake, again, so many different native plants that we also find many benefits, that have many stories and traditions around. But a beautiful thing about this plant is that it's used in cultures in Vietnam. It's used all over Asia. The flowers are used in tea. It is a very strong plant, so I'm going to eat just one leaf. And they do say it has a flavor kind of like fish. It's got a strong flavor, but it's something that I actually find very soothing. So I want to see if Bella likes it. She's got the gene for cilantro. Let's see if she likes it. All right, Bella, so find a leaf that's just unfurling here. Yeah, so I like to, just because, you know, we're in a park, I like to find like a little baby, little fresh leaf there. Smell it, let's see. You don't,
Kind of like
It smells kind of like cilantro. Maybe take a little nibble, see. Is it like the soap?
Not as strong as the soap.
Not as strong as the soap.
It's there.
All right, thanks for trying that out. Yeah, so I just love seeing the diversity here, the colors and, the veins. You don't have to identify a plant to feel a connection there. So here we have Corprinellius micaceus, or the mica cap. And you can see on here, it looks like it's got little glistening mica. Now this is an edible mushroom I've eaten before. Can be pretty tasty. I've made it with a peanut sauce. It's got these jet black spores here. A little bit hard to see. And this is something that is very prolific here in Atlanta. And it just shows you that even in death, this is growing off of this dead tree here, even in death, that we can support life. And that's why I'm really interested in green burial, because we're able to, be part of the system, right? Like everybody eventually at one point will pass away. Here's another Corprinellus mushroom, different species. Everything eventually will pass away, and to be able to go back to the earth, to be able to feed the earth and contribute is something really beautiful. So love seeing little mushrooms on the trail here. Something that you probably won't see if you're inside in the four walls. What do you say, Bella? What does this look like for you?
It kind of looks like little slivers of almonds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how's it feel on your hands too?
It's kind of just like falls apart. It's squishy, it's smooth. Doesn't really have a smell.
It's nice getting to feel mushrooms. I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance of community and the importance of death and end of life. This is part of a beech tree here, and this has a wide variety of mushrooms. We have a Asterium species, which is called false turkey tail. It's called false turkey tail because it's smooth on the bottom. It's not toxic. You can actually take a little bit, chew it, and it's got a little salty flavor. This is something that has some antibacterial properties to it, but it does not have the same medicinal benefits as turkey tail. Now, what we have here is actually a fairly old turkey tail. So this is not something that I would use for medicine, but you can see the white on the bottom. Oh, we got a little worm right here. Set that guy down. You can see the white on the bottom. This is a very old one, but you can see the hairs on the top here, as opposed to the smooth Asterium. And this one has a lot of research, especially in Japan. This is a little springtail, just jumped off. Especially in Japan, they use this as a cancer, for breast cancer adjuvant. And then we have yet another mushroom here. It's called a split gill. This is one of the more common mushrooms, and they're all growing and using the same log. And then we have what's called beech drops. These are growing on the roots of a beech tree here. And so we continue to see the interconnected nature that these plants here require beech trees, that these mushrooms here require not just trees, but dead logs to be put here. And so when we shovel death away, we mulch it up, we remove it. Just like in society, when we don't talk about death, we don't connect with the end of life process to see the life that we find in death. That's when we get disconnected from the world. That's when we start to feel depression and anxiety and confusion around the end of life. But when you see that this tree that was living, that was providing, still continues to provide, will continue to allow for multiple different species of life to thrive, and you start to feel a deeper sense of connection with the world around you. And I hope that this nature walk inspires that in you, to feel connected, to every day to walk outside and to see how we can all continue to exist. And one of my favorite teachings that has helped me in death is a scientific teaching that matter cannot be created or destroyed. Every atom here in this tree has been here since the beginning of the earth. Every atom inside of me and inside of you changes constantly. And when our body dies, we are still continuing to be here on this planet together. So I hope that you find that comforting.